because I see the danger in having to organise about 50 blokes, a vast array of buildings, tanks, workshops, and probably about 12 designers scattered all over Europe.
Because it's new, Jack, doesn't mean to say it's a threat.
Yeah, but one day, right, you're going to wake up and you're going to say, hell, it's 6 months since I designed a boat.
Oh, that's what I did say to Emma the other day.
Now, why don't we buy that plot out on Felling Ridge?
We?
Yeah, on our own, without Charlie Frere's interference.
Wait a minute. Last week, you laid into me about not wanting to move, about owing the Mermaid Yard everything. Pint a bit of please.
Yeah, now that was last week. But this week, I may not be keen to up sticks and join you, but I think we could run 2 yards.
Ancient and modern.
Craft and high-tech.
Yeah, one problem. Somebody's already bought Felling Ridge.
So they have. But still, you never know. Arthur, could I have an orange juice, please?
You all right? What's the matter?
That's the last time I'm going to organise a treasure hunt. Look at that clue. Now, I think that's difficult.
Burden. Come on, at least they all turned up.
Oh, yeah, the Spring Club people turned up and took it seriously.
Oh, who didn't?
Now, the Spring Club is for new boat owners, right?
Yeah, the original idea, yeah.
Yeah, well, they turn up as keen as mustard. But those meant to show an example, Leo and Mike Hanley, I mean, they just stood there and took the mickey. I mean, all he wants to do is take her to a restaurant and play footsie-wootsy with her.
Who?
Mike Hanley. Who else?
No. Who's the woman?
Sarah Foster. Why is nobody listening today?
Oh, you can't blame him, Jack. She's a very good-looking woman.
All right, thanks, Arthur.
Cheers.
Oh, hello, Ken.
Hello.
So, what do you think of Orcadian?
Fine piece of work, Jack.
Why are you so keen on it?
Well, the French built something similar. Pêche promenade, they call it. Sold like hotcakes.
You sure you just don't want her to thump your ex-partner in the guts?
I'm in business to make money, Jack, not to settle old scores. Let's talk prices, eh?
No, I'd rather not. I've got other things on my mind at the moment.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, 34 Haskers and Poulsons in the front shed.
Engines?
Yeah, 20 horsepower. I bought them, but we don't need them. You know the kind of thing.
How much are you asking?
The lot?
Yeah.
£1,000 apiece.
I'll take them off your hands.
Really?
Yeah, for 900.
Yes, well, if you could use them, Ken, I'd be very grateful.
Right. Well, I'll send a couple of lads over in the morning, pick them up.
Well, that's that then. Maybe I can start thinking about Orcadian's future again. See you, Ken. Oh, make the check out of cash, will you?
Well, I suppose we'd better get back to this treasure hunt.
But, Mike, you still haven't told me about Sir John Stevens.
All right. You ever heard of a place called Fairleas?
Where?
It's an industrial park outside Liverpool.
No.
Well, it's hardly surprising. Not much of it was ever built.
Oh, thanks. And?
Well, picture this huge government grant. 37 million quid to build Fairleas.
Well, that was a lot of money.
Well, it needed a lot of looking after, so they hired a big bloke from banking to organise the dividing up of the loan.
And that was Sir John Stevens.
Right. Then enter Terence Van Ouden, an Alaskan, would you believe? Now, the plans were to turn natural energy into power.
Not that old thing, surely.
Well, it wasn't old then, and Stevens liked the idea.
So what's Stevens guilty of?
He handed over half the fund. Within 2 years, it was bankrupt. Now, either he didn't ask the right questions, which I don't believe, or he accepted a very hefty backhander for looking the other way.
Well, that I find hard to believe of him.
Oh, come on, it's a good story. The only thing missing is a femme fatale.
Hang on, Mike, when was all this?
The board first sat in November '63. Why?
Well, could Sir John's crime be one merely of negligence?
I mean, what if he was so distraught at the time that anyone but anyone could have talked him into handing that money over?
It was possible. Why?
Because Sir John's wife died in the winter of '63. He was devoted to her.
The reason you can't find another woman is there never was one. And there never will be.
He was in a state of shock, you mean?
Could well be. And how's your name going to look on that?
Oh, don't misunderstand me, Polly. I like Abby's spirit. I admire it.
Do you believe, as I do, it could be her own worst enemy?
Well, if any progress is to be made, her outward show of determination where William is concerned ought to be curbed a little.
Edward, Abby is hardly likely to take any notice of me.
But you will try?
Yes, of course.
And how is Die Spitze shaping up?
I suppose Jan told you we'd had a difference of opinion.
Oh, yes, she did say something. Actually, it sounded rather a good idea to me.
Yes.
Don't worry. A year's time, she'll be grateful. Cash flow has always been her problem. Mail order seemed to me the perfect solution.
I think she'll try and close it down, Edward.
Well, that's absurd.
You and I know that, but...
Suppose we won't allow it to close down.
We?
We're not the only ones who aren't taking this race too seriously.
Here, let me see.
Think his idea was better than mine, don't you?
Yes, but then look how long they've known each other. What?
Mike and Sarah.
So?
You know what you said at the exhibition about not hurting me?
Before I threw you into the lion's den.
Yes. The same goes for me. This time it's for keeps. I think you'll love William. You really love him.
Abby, you do know there's just a chance you won't get him back, don't you?
Of course.
Right.
Thank you. I didn't mean you to feel pushed out the other day. Really, I didn't.
I know. It's Tom. He still thinks of himself as, well...
As what?
Jan, you're the most important woman in his life. When you show up or telephone, everything else stops. You heard what happened after you left that day?
No?
I went for a boat trip in Orcadian to make a point, although what the point was, I'm not quite sure.
What, just took off? Launched their precious boat and away?
That's right. They came looking for me.
But Jack, how did he react?
Oh, Jack took me by surprise, I can tell you. He was sympathetic, understanding, polite.
He's more ill than I thought. You do know there's nothing between Tom and me, don't you?
Except a mutual past, and in my experience, that can be a hell of a lot.
What are your feelings for him?
I'm not quite sure.
You really are what he always needed, you know.
Oh?
Yeah. Someone who could speak his language. Even before he went in with Jack, he lived and breathed...
Your table is ready, madam.
He lived and breathed boats. I never did.